So, yeah. So, do you want to do the opening remarks for the second segment for us, please?
Yeah. Good afternoon again. This is the second segment of our weekly podcast called The Football Referee. I'm Trevor Gear and he calls me Bruv.
And I'm Hickins, and he calls me Cos. Welcome to the second segment, segment two of the football referee. Now, there's this one. It says Aston Villa's placed a bid for Jean-Philippe Mateta. Are you aware, Mateta?
What was the first? Say that again.
Aston Villa
Yeah.
placing a bid for Mateta.
Yeah. I was aware that he's sort of been somehow linked with them. And
Right.
I think that would there's a lot to say about the
Hmm.
Palace situation. And I'll try and be brief about it because Mateta played on Saturday and we lost 2-0 to Everton,
Yeah.
having really had the best of the game for much of the first half. We generated at least three, possibly four, but very, very good chances,
Chances.
a
Yeah.
couple of which fell to Mateta. And whereas he did go through a purple patch a year or so ago, all credit to him when we won the FA Cup and all that.
Hmm.
And of course, he scored the goal, which won us the Conference League last season as well. So I don't underestimate his performance um, and his effect on the club. If you go back, certainly before January, when he made it very clear this year he wanted to leave, and
Hmm.
within the last 10 days of the football transfer window,
Hmm.
the way he went about that upset quite a lot of fans. He just suddenly wanted to go, and he was off. We thought so. I think it was AC Milan rather than Inter Milan, but one of the Milans. But he failed a medical
Yeah.
on his knee, so of course he was then stuck. And pretty quickly, I mean, I think the fans got over that, and he was, applauded and cheered when he came on, and he's got the odd goal. Not didn't score too many after
Hmm.
that, but obviously it kind of he had a great relationship with the fans before that. He was always totally Palace throughout his whole body and his heart. And he made us all laugh with his antics, and he was great in the dressing room apparently. So he
Hmm.
was great. So he kind of, blotted his copybook a little bit, but we all still came back. But now, when he played last Saturday and missed chances, unfortunately, but
Hmm.
it comes out. I don't know who put it out there, but whether it was the club or somebody else. But he, at the moment and in January, has been trying to sue the club in some way
Oh,
about
wow.
the option element of his last year's contract, which he's in
Hmm.
now. And apparently he went to FIFA. So I've read. I mean, I'm only relating what I've read in the press.
Hmm.
Um, he went to FIFA and FIFA kicked it back to him and said, "No, you've got to sort this out with your club." Now, I
Hmm.
don't know where they stand with that, but it's not great news to know that one of your players instead of having the club in his heart, he's actually trying to get something out of them, whether to release him. But the fact is, he failed that medical, which was unfortunate because Palace had bought a replacement in Strand Larson
Hmm.
and then couldn't sell Mateta for the money that was agreed at the time.
Hmm.
So it would have been much better for him and for the club had he have gone then. So really now I think it's come out about this suing the club. It is better for all concerned if he goes ASAP and in this window because if this is his last year of contract, if you're going to get any money for somebody, you've got to sell them before they become a free agent at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So hopefully Villa will push it through. And of course, like many players, if they've gone through a bit of a stale spell at their club, they can be rejuvenated by a transfer because clearly he's got ability. He's a big guy. He,
Hmm.
he, he did go through a period of scoring quite a lot of goals,
Hmm.
but not so much last season.
No.
Apart from, as I say, that goal that won us the Conference League. So I hope he goes to Villa. It'll be a good move for him. I don't wish him bad or anything. I hope he gets on all right. But I think the break from Palace now is inevitable, and
Hmm.
it should happen. If that should fall through, I don't know whether there's anyone else in the wings lining up to take him because he would do a job for a club. He's not a
Hmm.
bad player.
No.
So yeah, that's the thing about Mateta. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And of course, boom, and he be gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. So now in the game against Espanyol, Vinicius was not happy when Arda Güler decided to pass the ball to Kylian Mbappe instead of him. And this is what he says, and it's a quote. Ada, give it to me just once, man. And then there's a swear word starting with D. And it says, it's always the same thing. Uh, Vinicius Junior does have a controversy streak around him, don't it?
Well, I don't know what the swear word beginning with D is. That's what I'm trying to work
All
out.
right. Well, we'll just spell it out.
Oh,
So
it's
it's
obviously in
D.
Spanish or something.
No, it's in English. Damn.
Oh, I see.
some people see it as a
Yeah.
curse word. Some people don't. But
No, yeah. I
yeah,
thought it was a serious swear word,
no,
but
no.
um, yeah, I don't know what to make of that really. You get the feeling he's been unsettled at Real Madrid, and he was hoping to get away, wasn't he, at one stage? But then it's
It
been
was.
Mourinho has made it clear he wants him to stay, and why wouldn't he? Because he's a very good player. Again, it's something you touched on earlier. We've not had many of the world's top players. I know we've had people like Harry Kane and our own people, and
Mm,
Haaland, of course. But we
mm.
think of Messi and Ronaldo, those legendary players, and this guy Junior, he's obviously up there with the very best players, as Lamel is as well. But somehow, I mean, there was rumours that Junior was going to come to England, possibly to Arsenal,
Arsenal,
but
yeah.
that hasn't happened. So I don't think it's likely to between now and next Monday. Yeah, it's a shame when within a team, a player would, and it must happen, a player thinks other players don't want to pass to them either because they've become unreliable or they'll lose the ball or they'll put it, boot it to the back of the stand instead of in the goal.
Mm,
And it must be difficult because you'll convince yourself eventually that it's true that, yeah, pass to me and they don't. And like any other people, humans together, you will
mm,
always get different opinions. You'll get problems. You'll get, arguments or negative feelings towards people. So that's just part, I think, of the human condition. So they've got to work through that. But I'm sure someone like Jose Mourinho would sort that out. He will pick up that there's an issue between two players, for example, and if he's a good manager, which I think he is, he'll have that sorted out very quickly because you can't successfully run one of the best teams in the world if there's arguments between players about who's going to pass to. Yeah, there's
yeah.
always times when a player of any team will go through, take a shot when he's got someone in a perfect position just to his left who could slide the ball in. And that must be so frustrating when
Mm,
someone behaves a bit selfishly and wants to score the goal themselves when it would have been a certain goal, possibly, if he passed it. But that's part and parcel of football. Sometimes a player may not even realise there's someone there to pass it to. But yeah, I think clearly with this guy, Junior, he's had some issues over the last few weeks, possibly months. But I think he's going to have to, as we said before, he's going to have to suck it up and stay there because I don't think they want to sell him.
no, I don't think so. Yeah, they're not letting him go. Matter of fact, the manager, Jose Mourinho, was saying, "Well, we're happy with the players we have now. I know we know
Yeah.
the transfer window is still open, but we're happy." So I suppose
Mm.
partly might be referencing to juniors wanting move.
He
Who
probably
knows?
was. Yeah.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now there's this player that I just can't seem to understand what is really wrong with him. Not in a way, not in a bad way, but Liam Delap. Now I remember him at Ipswich, and then Ipswich was going down, so
Mm.
they were getting relegated. Are they back up now, Ipswich? They are, aren't they?
Yeah, they came up this past
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
came, so they back up. They came back up. And now at the point where they were relegated, he got a move to Chelsea. and then he had injuries, so he couldn't really play that much. But no doubt he's a good player.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a good player. But he's not been at Chelsea long enough. Now he's wanting a move to Nottingham Forest. Um, I don't understand that. Do you? Can you make any sense of
Well,
that?
yeah, I was hoping you would bring up Nottingham Forest actually for other reasons.
All right.
Well, I didn't actually manage to watch much of the game last night,
I
but I
did.
saw the end of it, and
Yeah,
I saw the comments on X and on Facebook aimed at Oliver Glasner, and I bet there's probably quite a lot of Palace fans who last night at that result. Let's just qualify what we're saying. On Saturday, Forest were home to Leeds in the league,
yeah,
first league game. Forest lost 1-0 at home
it did.
to
Yeah.
Leeds. It's funny how often a cup game will follow a league game with the same teams. It's amazing how that
Mm,
happens. Well, last night, Forest were at home again to Leeds in the Carabao Cup, and Leeds won 2-0.
mm,
And the reaction, which to be fair, you've got to say is premature, but the reaction by Forest fans was, or many of them anyway, on social media was pretty vicious. We've got this guy in because he was going to do this, he was going to do that, and we've lost 2-0. He's going to be the next one our owner sacks, which of course could happen because that wasn't part of the plan, that they'd have two home games, which they would lose. And yeah, a lot of Palace fans, probably including myself, much as we are grateful to Glasner for
mm,
that 2 years with us. And within
mm,
that, there was a 12-month period where we won the FA Cup, the Community Shield, and the Conference League in Europe. So for
mm,
Palace, who'd never really won a serious trophy, that was phenomenal. And whatever we may say or think about Glasner and the way he's engineered that move away, etc., it can't alter our memories of probably the best time in most Palace fans' lives that
mm,
we never really thought we would see, let alone win a European trophy. And we're now in the Europa League, which of course Forest are not in Europe at all, which when he left, Glasner made it clear he wants to be in Europe with his team and so on. So
mm,
there was a sense in the way that he left and the way he criticised the club and the board back in January or February, but things that should have been kept within the club, I think. The fact
mm,
that he wanted to go at all, he gave an indication perhaps he wanted a bigger job. I think he thought he might get one of the Milan jobs.
mm,
That didn't come through. And a lot of the time they thought perhaps Manchester United would get him. Now they may or may not have re- regretted their decision to appoint Carrick. It's too early to regret it yet, but I think a lot of people were surprised they stuck with him when they could have gone for, at the time they were saying someone like Glasner. Now, so
mm,
there will be a lot of Palace fans who think, well, it's a bit of karma, and I don't like the idea of just, having a go about a previous manager or player for your club. Yeah,
mm,
he did it in a way that did feel a bit of a betrayal, and one cannot escape that. But I don't think there's anything to be gained by cheering when he's obviously started off very badly at his new club. There's nothing to be gained. I think he'll
mm,
pick it up anyway. He is a good manager. He knows how to develop systems. Palace fans always thought he had a plan, but didn't have a plan B.
mm,
If it's not going well, he didn't always change it. And some of them were saying that last night. So he's had a very aggressive response from the fans, which may or may not mean anything. I noticed afterwards in his interview on TV there, I've never seen him look so downcast.
mm,
And again, a bit like Guardiola did, Glasner has opted for staying here when he could have. The impression he gave is he was going to go back nearer to his family, either to get a job in Germany with Wolfsburg, I think, where he was before,
mm,
or maybe in Austria because he's an Austrian.
mm,
But these managers who are happy to live, well, we assume they live on their own, but on their own in probably a plush apartment or somewhere, without their families. That's a big deal. And of course, it cost Guardiola his marriage. They may
Mm,
get back together, apparently, but they are divorced. And I
mm,
don't think probably Glasner, who's got two or three children, teenagers, who he obviously adores, when he makes comments about them. And I don't know. I was surprised he then took this Forest job, especially
mm,
knowing how many managers have been fired there in the last season or two.
mm.
And of course, we know his salary of £13 million a year must have been for anybody a great incentive to do it. So, if I'm honest, I hope it works out for him. I do. I would take no pleasure in seeing him fail. Having said that, the other parts of that I would say is when they come to Palace I think it's on the 10th or 11th of October.
Mm.
I hope we slaughter Forest. I hope we. Of course, we want to win because Forest. They kicked us, their owner, etc.
Yeah.
Forest were very against us inheriting the rightful Europa League when we won the FA Cup. So we were kind of pushed down to the Conference League, which worked out because we won it, which is brilliant. But there's a
Mm.
bit nothing against the Forest fans. They're only like Palace fans. Fans ultimately, they may appear tribal, but they pretty well get on, I think, most of the time. So I kind of feel for them when they've been promised this Messiah who's going to really transform the club, and they were very critical as well on the players. They say they get Delap in, and someone said, but when Delap comes, he'll be another one who will miss the chances as well. It's quite a lot of dark humour in their comments. But no, I think it would do them good to get Delap because they lost
Mm.
Anderson to
Mm.
Manchester City, an excellent footballer he is. So it's be interesting to watch. To watch, I'm trying to think who they've got. Oh, they're away to Liverpool at the weekend, so that's
Oh
not
yeah, yeah,
an easy one. Having said that, that's the sort of game we all think, oh, that's a given. Sort of
yeah.
game Forest will go and win,
Win, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But
I
no,
thought
I
so.
I do wish, I honestly do wish Glasner well. I do, except when he plays us, of course. But I hope it does work out for him because fundamentally he's a thoroughly decent bloke, and he achieved things for Palace which we didn't dream would happen.
It did, yeah, it did. It was just the whole thing surrounding his departure into.
It was,
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Nah. Anyway, now the next one is Dele Ali.
yeah.
Um, it says Dele Alli could be handed another opportunity in Italian football with Monza ready to offer the former Tottenham and England midfielder a one-year contract. So the 30-year-old has been a free agent since leaving Como in September 2025. Dele Alli, he used to be a really good footballer for England, didn't he? What's happened to him? Would you sort of just
Well,
said,
the way you said that was exactly how I would say it. He
hmm,
used to be, he was a great player at Tottenham. And of course, in the days of Kane and
yeah.
the Korean guy, Son and Kane
Yeah.
and Ali. I mean, as you say, he played for England. He was a really highly considered footballer. He was
Mm,
great. And
mm,
there, it seemed all of a sudden, excuse me, all of a sudden, he either slipped from grace or his game went completely off because he wasn't being selected and he was getting a lot of criticism, I think, even in the press. And that alone would have undermined his confidence. So I don't know. The only thing that, when I thought about this the other day about him, because you get the occasional story of a player doing really well, and then they
mm,
kind of drop right out of the limelight. They drop away. And one of the things I really do remember, and
mm,
it's happened to a number of footballers, but he was at home, is probably a very nice home, with his then partner. I don't think he was married, but he lived with a woman, as
mm,
far as I remember. And they had friends round. I don't know whether it was another footballer, I can't remember.
mm,
Anyway, some burglars, whatever, broke in while they were there. And I believe he was physically attacked. And you can't imagine the horror of that happening to anybody.
mm,
And maybe wealthy footballers can be a target, although you think they can afford, sure they do, good security. But I don't know, it's probably totally unrelated. But I sort of thought of the time in the months following that story,
Mm,
that was when his game disappeared. And I just thought, could it have so affected his self confidence? I mean, I believe not necessarily straight away, but subsequently, he and his girlfriend, they did split up.
mm,
Now, whether that was related to that, who knows? But he may have gone through those awful thoughts that he did his best, but he couldn't protect his friends there and his partner and so on. And I'm not saying he didn't. I mean, I don't know enough about it. And indeed,
mm,
it's only recently when I saw his name, my mind even went back to that because it's
mm.
happened to a few players. Even Raheem Sterling had to
Yeah.
come back from the Euros, was it? Because his house had been broken into and so on. So pretty horrible stuff. And it doesn't just happen here. I know it happens in Spain to their players and South America as well. So it's
Mm,
not unique to this country. But I just wonder if that might be partly responsible
mm.
for the decline in his game, which I think is a
Yeah.
pity because I don't think a good footballer suddenly becomes a bad footballer overnight.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
all to do with confidence ebbing away for whatever reason or reasons. But
Yeah.
I feel
Absolutely.
sorry for him. I do. I
I
feel
do.
sorry for
I
him.
do. Yeah. I mean, he just disappeared all of a sudden, and I thought,
He did.
yeah. And when I saw his name, I thought, oh yeah, that's that good English player. Where is he gone? What's happened to him? But anyway, we wish him the best. Yeah. So, in principle, it says a principal agreement has been reached between Arsenal and Al Hilal for Gabriel Martinelli. It
All
says
right.
Arsenal are now pushing to convince the player to accept the Saudi proposal. Negotiations still ongoing. Now it says Arsenal are pushing to convince. Does it mean that he doesn't want to go? Is that?
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised really because
Mm,
Martinelli, in my view, I mean, I think he's an excellent player. But I was looking the other day at the cover they've got for every position. They've got like
mm,
three quality players in pretty much the whole team, from the
mm,
goalkeeper right through. So, and I guess to win the Premier League and competitions, you need that sort of quality. But it also must mean that you've got to try and keep a lot of people happy. You've got to keep a lot of plates spinning up there on the sticks
mm.
because top footballers, they want to play the game. They don't want to be coming on at the 70th minute and just get there.
Ah,
And okay, you with Europe, you need rotation. You need a quality squad and a decent sized squad.
mm,
But I do think they will have a job to keep everybody happy. It's quite
mm.
an interesting look to see all the cover they've got. So
Yeah.
that might explain why, when someone's come in for one of their players who maybe Arteta doesn't consider to be vitally important, he's got good cover apart from Martinelli.
Mm.
Um, Maybe that's why they're trying to push the move through. It seems a
Maybe.
bit
Yeah.
strange because if the club really wanted him, you think they
Mm.
would be pushing it themselves. So it'll be quite interesting to see if it happens.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be quite interesting. I mean, it's too young to go to Saudi. I don't know how old he is, but he's too young in form
Mm,
wise. He's still got a lot of juice for Europe.
I'd have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 man, yeah. It's got a lot. So this one, the last one that we're going to look at is Jamie Carragher. It says Jamie Carragher believes Liverpool's 445 million spending spree in 2025 could go down as the worst in Premier League history. Now he breaks it down. So Alexander Isak, 125 million. Florian Wirtz, 116 million. Milos Kerkev, 40 million. Jeremy Frimpong, 30 million. Giovanni Leone, 30 million. Georgi Mamadashvili. Mamadashvili. I think that's the goalkeeper. Is that the goalkeeper? I can't remember now. 29 million. Is there any substance in what he's saying about Liverpool?
They're all pretty. I don't know the last one. I mean, Allison is still there, of course, but who I think will, if he stays, which I think he is, he'll be the main goalkeeper. But
Mm,
yeah, those other players that they're all pretty good players. They got a new manager, and he's got to set up the chess pieces and make
mm,
it work. Now, the name even Isak I include. I think Isak he was possibly the best striker at Newcastle his last season there in the Premier League. He was excellent, lightning quick, and I don't think he would have changed. He's had these injuries which won't help, but
mm,
he will turn out, I think, to be a good buyer.
mm,
And the other players, I mean, they're excellent. I think it's just getting the best out of them in their best positions. So it's
mm.
going to be, I mean, they drew, didn't they, with Newcastle? Newcastle lost that to near the end as it became a draw.
Yeah.
So they could have lost it. But I think that's an overreaction from Carragher to
Mm,
say it'll go down as the worst one. If there were some obvious, turkeys or whatever the word is in
mm.
there, you'd say, well, yeah, that was a waste of money. But I don't think that's the case.
No.
I mean, when they get, I think Ekitike is still injured, but he's an excellent footballer.
Yeah.
He'll come good. They
Mm,
should have a surplus of great players, I think. So no,
yeah.
I think Liverpool. I think they're going to be up there, top 4 or 5. I do.
Yeah. And funny enough, that's the only one he didn't mention, Ekitike. But anyway, this is all we've got time for on the second segment of the Football Referee. Join us next week as we bring you two more great episodes of the Football Referee. So I've been Emmy Hickins, and he calls me Cos,
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
and it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me too.